And now let's look into the major highlights. So beginning with capital expenditure, Ms. Nirmala Sitharaman was saying that an 11.1% increase in the capital expenditure outlay for 2024-25 has been announced, and it is set at 11 crore 11 lakh 111 rupees, constituting 3.4% of the GDP. So capital expenditure has been constituted as 3.4% of the GDP. And economic growth projections, our government or the interim budget has projected that the GDP growth for financial year 23-24, the real GDP growth is projected at 7.3%, and this is with alignment to RBI's revised growth projections. And now, at the same time, the IMF, or the International Monetary Fund, has also upgraded India's growth projections for the financial year 23-24 to 6.3%. So, in line to that, if you see, the GDP growth has been projected at 7.3%. And by 2027, the country or the IMF says that India will become the third largest economy in the world. And what are the revenue and expenditure estimates for 24-25? So total receipts is estimated at 30.8 lakh crore rupees, excluding borrowings. And total expenditure is actually projected at 47.66 lakh crores. To a tax receipt, the government estimates at 26.02 lakh crores. GST collections, what did the finance minister say about GST collections? So she said that it has reached 1.65 lakh crores in December 23 and crossing 1.6 lakh crore benchmark for the 7th time. So it is for the 7th time that the GST collection has crossed the mark of 1.6 lakh crore in the country. What about the fiscal deficit and market borrowings? So for 2024-25, that is the upcoming financial year, fiscal deficit has been estimated at 5.1% of GDP. And this is in alignment with the goal of reducing it below 4.5% by 25-26. So the government aims to bring down fiscal deficit by or at least below 4.5% by the end of 25-26. And this was actually announced in the budget 21-22. So as per that projection, the current interim budget has projected that the fiscal deficit will be 5.1% of the GDP in the year or in the upcoming year 24-25. And when you look at the gross and net market borrowings through dated securities in 24-25, it has been estimated at 14.13 and 11.75 lakh crores respectively. So market borrowings, these are the projected borrowings by the government of India. And the finance minister was also talking about taxation. So she proposed that she proposes no change for taxation. That is how she has started the taxation part of the budget. So it maintains the existing rates itself for the direct and indirect tax. There is no changes which has been mentioned in the interim budget, but that doesn't mean that there wouldn't be any change in the upcoming budget or the full budget in July 24. As of now, as per the interim budget, there is no proposed changes in the existing rates for direct and indirect taxes. So which means that for corporate taxes, 22% will continue for existing domestic companies and 15% for some of the new manufacturing companies. There won't be any tax liability for taxpayers up to 7 lakh of annual income, but that is as per the new tax regime. And certain tax benefits for startups and investments has been extended by 1 year up to March 31, 2025. So there is no change in taxation in terms of direct and indirect taxes in the country as per the interim budget. And priorities, like we were saying, there are 4 major areas which Narendra Modi had highlighted in December 2023, and the same has been projected in interim budget 24. So the priorities, first one, poor. That is Garib Kalyan, Desh Ka Kalyan. So how are they being supported as per the current interim budget? So the interim budget says that successful movement of 25 crore people out of multi-dimensional poverty will be targeted, and this will be done through credit assistance, which has already been provided to 78 lakh street vendors under the PM SVA Nidhi. So Credit assistance has already been provided to 78 lakh street vendors, and the interim budget projects that successful movement of 25 crore people will be done from out of the multi-dimensional poverty aspect. So they will be uplifted from their current level of poverty and they'll be given much better life conditions. And the second focus is on women. So disbursement of 30 crore Mudra Yojana loans to women entrepreneurs. That is what the interim budget has projected. So 43% of female enrollment in STEM courses, assistance to 1 crore women through 83 lakh SHG, that is self-help groups, fostering Lakpati Didis, and 28% increase in female enrollment in higher education over a decade. So these are the highlights that were mentioned regarding women development and women empowerment as part of the interim budget. And youth training of 1.4 crore youth under Skill India mission is actually projected, and fostering entrepreneurial aspirations with 43 crore loans sanctioned. It has already been sanctioned under PM Mudra Yojana. And coming to the farmers, direct financial assistance has been provided to 11.8 crore farmers under PM Kisan. Crop insurance is extended to 4 crore farmers through Fasal Bima Yojana, and integration of 1,361 mandis under E-NAM for streamlined agricultural trade has also been achieved by government. So these are the highlights that has been mentioned in the interim budget, where the government says that they had already achieved these aspects through these quantifiable aspects, and in moving forward they also aim to focus on these four these four categories of the castes, that is poor, women, youth and farmers, for making India a developed nation by 2047. And what are the major development plans? So coming to the infrastructure, we were seeing the strategies. So as part of the strategies, infrastructural development is one thing that the interim budget was proposing. So what are the infrastructural developments that the government is planning? One is for the railways. So the government says that 3 major economic railway corridor programs will be implemented: energy, mineral and cement corridors, port connectivity corridors and high traffic density corridors. So these 3 economic railway corridors will be implemented in the upcoming years, and 40,000 normal rail bogies will be converted to Vande Bharat standards for enhanced safety, convenience and passenger comfort. So if you would have already read the news, Vande Bharat has become a successful project of the current ruling party. So understanding that Vande Bharat has been successful, the government has projected that 40,000 normal rail bogies will be converted to Vande Bharat standards, so that there is enhanced safety, convenience and passenger comfort. Aviation is also focused as part of the infrastructural development. So what are the proposed changes or proposed developments in the aviation? So the government interim budget talks about the aviation, saying that expansion of existing airports and comprehensive development of new airports under UDAN scheme. So there is a scheme called UDAN, and under which the existing airports as well as new airports will be developed, bringing aviation sector into a next level of dimension. And urban transport is also being focused by promotion of urban transportation. That's a typing mistake from my side. So from metro, rail to and Namo Bharat, these are the 2 areas which will be coming up in the urban transportation of India. So there will be more number of metro rails and Namo Bharat coming up in our country as part of the infrastructural development. Now, clean energy sector is also an important area which the interim budget has focused, and mostly in terms of wind energy, because it will help in harnessing offshore wind energy potential, aiming for an initial capacity of 1 gigawatt. So clean energy, which aligns to sustainable development goals. So wind energy is something that, or the clean energy sector is something that the government is proposing to make a great impact in the coming developmental stages of the country. So as part of that, establishment of coal gasification and liquefaction capacity of 100 million tons by 2030 will be done. Phased mandatory blending of CNG, PNG and compressed biogas will be implemented. Financial assistance for procurement of biomass aggregation machinery has been proposed. Rooftop solarization, like 1 crore households will be enabled to obtain up to 300 units of free electricity per month. So in the upcoming years, we will see that more promotion is given to rooftop solarization of households, and strengthening of e-vehicle ecosystem is also being targeted in our country by supporting manufacturing and charging units. More number of manufacturing and more number of charging units for electric vehicles will come, which all will support in sustainable development target of the country. And there is new scheme of biomanufacturing and biofoundry to be launched to support environment friendly alternatives in terms of clean energy sector. So this is another area of highlight which has been presented by our finance minister. Housing sector is also being focused by stating that government plans to subsidize the construction of 30 million affordable houses in rural areas. So there is a subsidized construction proposed by the government and making houses affordable in the rural areas. And housing for middle class scheme is also proposed to be launched to promote middle class to buy and build their own houses. So if you remember, when the NDA government came into its first ruling, the then Prime Minister Narendra Modi had mentioned that housing for all, or housing, will be an important aspect that the government will be focusing. And as part of that, it continues to present the same area in the budgets. This year also it has presented the same in terms of saying that middle class, housing for middle class will be, such schemes will be launched so that even middle class people can buy and build their own houses, because middle class is a majority of the Indian population come from middle class, and buying or owning a home is very difficult for them. So such schemes will come up in the upcoming years. Then a special focus on health sector also in the interim budget. So this time a major highlight is that Ms. Nirmala Sitharaman was saying that there is encouragement of cervical cancer vaccination for girls between the age of 9 to 14 years. The government will encourage girls to take cervical cancer vaccination so that the incidence of cervical cancer comes down in the country. So it is like protection measures, vaccination against cervical cancers. So that is a new thing which has been announced in the current budget. UWIN platform for immunization efforts of Mission Indradhanush to be rolled out, and expanding Ayushman Bharat scheme to include all ASHA workers, Anganwadi workers and helpers. So in this way, health sector promotion has been progressed. And agricultural sector, fishery sector and states capex has also been focused in the current interim budget. So in terms of agricultural sector, encouraging the use of nano DAP for various crops across all agroclimatic zones is proposed. Formulating policies to support dairy farmers and combat foot and mouth diseases which comes for the crops, and strategizing for Atmanirbharta, that is self-reliance in oil seeds, covering the research, procurement, value addition and crop insurance. Nano DAP, or the D-ammonium phosphate, is a technology-based agri-input developed by the Indian Farmers Fertilizer Cooperative Limited, IFFCO. It helps in correcting the nitrogen and phosphorus deficiencies in standard crops. So this nano DAP is being encouraged more in the coming years so that the crops remain more healthy, and the agricultural sector achieves a development and growth in the coming years. And in fishery sector, establishment of a new department called Matsya Sampada to address the needs of fishermen. So there is a separate or an additional focus given to the fishermen in the latest budget, not the new budget, sorry, in the interim budget. So the government has stated, or the finance minister has said that it will establish a new department for specifically addressing the needs of the fishermen, and it will be named as Matsya Sampada. For states capex, the continuation of 50-year interest-free loan scheme for capital expenditure to states has been announced. So recently in the interim budget, the finance minister was proposing 50-year interest-free loan schemes for the states for their capital expenditures, and an outlay of rupees 1.3 lakh crore with the provision of 75,000 crores for 50-year interest-free loans to support state-led reforms has also been proposed. So first, there is a 50-year free loan scheme for meeting the capital expenditures of the state. and the additional 1.3 lakh crore rupees has been kept aside with the provision of 75,000 crores for this 50-year interest-free loan to support state-led reforms. Special attention is also being paid to eastern regions to make it a powerful driver of India's growth. So, if you would have read the history or the past news and all, we'll see that the eastern part of the country has been given less attention, and they have been voicing out for that for this issue over a very long period. So, this budget, the interim budget, has also focused or given special attention to the eastern region, development of eastern region, to make it as a powerful driver of India's growth. Now, these are the highlights of the interim budget 2024.